Associates.
Welcome to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman, a leading expert in professional coaching, clinical hypnosis, and energy clearing. Lois is an award-winning author of Chronicles of Hope. She has decades of experience in advanced hypnosis techniques, has conducted highly effective success coaching programs that have helped clients discover ways to achieve success, empower themselves, their families, as well as holistic practitioners to expand their practices. Get ready to be empowered with your host, Lois Herman.
And good morning. Welcome to Inspiring Hope. I'm your host, Lois Herman, and I hope to inspire you with positive messages and celebrate everyday people who are making a difference in our world. When we focus our thoughts and energies on what we love to do, we create powerful shifts that cause us to be more positive and peaceful. As we lift our energy, we empower everyone around us. If we each do what we can to make small shifts in awareness, from kindness to healthy habits and simple happiness, we create ripples of hope. Join us as catalysts for positive change for our families, our communities, and our world at large. I hope you are inspired by today's show. And today you're listening to Lois Herman at WSMN 1590. And I actually have my very first guest on, and I will introduce her in a minute. I want to welcome you to getting ready for a new year, a new decade. Oh my goodness, this is technically the fifth day of Christmas. In that 12 days of Christmas. So this is a time to continue to celebrate, to love, to have hope, and have peace around you. As a holiday season continues, there are people who are excited and busy. Although the main Christmas day is over, it's a good time to slow down a little and truly spend time with friends and family and organizing and getting your house together and just enjoying time. Although there are people who celebrate the actual Epiphany, the 6th of January, and that's when where they actually exchange gifts. And other celebrations, other religious denominations celebrate even the 7th of January. So there's a lot of different things going on. We're also in the middle of Hanukkah. So it's a time of still quiet celebration. But the frenzy is gone, short of if you're going to return gifts or, take your returns back. Then it gets a little frenzied. But take your time. Take your time. This is still a time to take inventory. Many people start planning for New Year's resolutions. Do you know that for goal setting, 67% of people set goals? However, only 8% actually achieve them. So in today's show, we're going to be talking about goals, although my good friend who's on today with me, Denise, talks more about intentions instead of goals. So I'm going to be sharing intentions with a twist, because thoughts affect things. 99% of achieving what you wish is your attitude. It's what you think about it. So what I want you to do for this next period of time is to do some reflecting on the year 2019. Actually, what if you reflected on the last 10 years? Because now we're coming into 2020. I just finished my blog on setting your sights on 2020, clear vision for the new decade. And if you're interested in my blogs, you can see them on the website loisherman.com. And if you're interested in receiving them, you'll get an email that has them. I send out a monthly blog. It's an inspirational insights newsletter that just has information to uplift you. I've been doing that for a long time. So if you go to the website, you'll see there's lots of old ones there. But many of them are still relevant, of course, today. But what you want to do is take inventory on what worked, what things you're proud of, what things you're happy with, what things tickle your heart. And then you want to think also about, well, what didn't work? What did I do that I could have made better choices, that I could have done better? Make a note of them. Then make a note of what you choose to change. And think about it from a perspective of it being all about balance. I have an exercise that I do when I actually teach goal setting that includes really 10 areas of your life that you want to keep in balance. But let's keep it simple for today. what if we think about mind, body, spirit? Mind, the wealth, that is where we place our emphasis, the focus of our thoughts is the root of where we end up. When we think about body, we think about health, making healthy choices for our body, for better sleep, for eating better, for exercising, for all those things that affect our body. And then there's also the spirit, which I consider that's our happiness area. If our spirits are happy, if our spirits are in alignment, we end up with a sense of peace and joy and serenity, no matter what is going on around us. Because the only person you need to be better than today is the one you were yesterday. You are the only one you need to be better than. We tend to compare ourselves with other people. I saw a great Facebook post yesterday that said, never blame anyone in your life. The good people give you happiness. The bad people give you experience. The worst people give you a lesson. And the best people give you memories. So think about that for a moment. Think of the people in your life that have given you happiness. Hold them dear. Treasure them. Be inspired. Reach out to them if you're feeling a little glum or down. Reach out to those that you know are going to bring you happiness. Those that have given you experience in your life. You can be grateful for them, because I know for myself, I had a first husband who was not a very good person. However, I've learned a lot. I would not be where I am today if I hadn't gone through the dark night of the soul, as they call it. If I hadn't gone through those painful experiences, I would not have reached out, and shifted my life for the better. I would have just been complacent. So those bad people give you experiences, and the worst ones, which I have to say, I guess that would be a lesson. And that gentleman in my life, and I use that word very loosely, I learned a lot of lessons. So what lessons have you learned? Make a note of them. Get out a piece of paper and pencil. Of course, if you're driving, you can't do that. You're listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman on 1590, WSMN 1590. I'm here every Sunday morning, and I hope to inspire you with positive messages and positive people. We meet so many people that are inspiring to me, and I'm hoping to shine the light on them, and because they will inspire you. So, again, what new habits will you create this year? I want to tell you a little story. What if you decided that you're going to get a ship and you're going to sail around to the Caribbean, but you have no crew, you have no map, you got no compass, no food or supplies, no radio? Guess what you're going to do? You might make it, but chances are you're going to founder. What if you prepared? What if you found a great crew? Good people to support you? What if you knew your ship was in ship shape? What if you had a current map? You had a good compass, had lots of yummy food and good supplies, plus the radio. What would we do without the radio? You will make it. And that's what intention, setting goals is all about. It's about planning, having the tools, having what you need, because what you believe and conceive, you will achieve. A lot of times people think of a goal, it's basically just a wish until you put some action to it. You've got to put some thought to it and some action. A lot of what I do with clients is help them to visualize in their mind where they want to be out a year into the future. Hey, let's make it 10 years. Where will you be in 2030? And then, retrospectively, you look back and you set specific, measurable, doable action steps along the way. That's how you achieve a goal, is you plan it. You think about where you're going and where you want to be and who you want to be. So when you set goals, when you decide you're going to change a habit pattern because that's what goal setting is all about. I want to quit smoking. You're changing a habit pattern. I want to exercise more. You're changing a habit pattern. I want to be more kind. You're changing a habit pattern. Have you heard of the word neuro pathways? That's something that a lot of people are hearing about nowadays, the way that works. So we've got patterns that play in our mind that are just, it's simple. We do this all the time. Routine, routine, routine. Think about it as you're going on a trail through the woods. It's a comfortable trail. It's well worn. It's blazed. You can just go right through it. However, it doesn't take you where you want to go. But if you decide that you want to blaze a new trail, it's going to take some effort. You're going to have to pull out that machete and cut down some brambles and some bushes, and you're going to have to create a new pathway. That's going to take a little bit of work. However, you're going where you choose to go. A lot of our habit patterns are based on our past, on things that happened. When you choose a new pathway, when you do the work, then you can create where you're going. You can create what you want in your world. So those of you who are driving, I call it road hypnosis. You realize that when you first learned to drive that car, you had to pay attention. Oh, I've got to do the directional signal. I've got to, And then after a while, what you've done is you've trained your subconscious mind to drive the car. So you really are driving along. The only time you have to think about it is when you come to a place where it's unfamiliar. You've got to make a new choice. You've got to turn down a new road. And then what do? The first thing you do, turn off the radio. Oh, sorry, can't talk to you now. That's if you were talking on the phone with your headset while you're driving. Anyway, however, when you're driving is a good time. I used to have a 2-hour one-way commute every day from Dunbarton to Taunton, Mass. That was my time to meditate, if you will, to zone out. My car is driving on the Beltway, and if something comes into my awareness that I have to pay attention to, I will snap right to. But you can think about, you can reflect. It's the quiet time that many of us in our busy, busy days, that's the problem. We don't have that quiet time. Take a little quiet time over the next few days. Reflect over what was good in the past, what you want to change, and then set your sights, set your ship for where you're going. Have a plan, and then you absolutely will get there. So think of things that give you joy in your life. In my blog, I talk about setting goals, but I also talk about spreading kindness. What if the one goal you set was to be more kind, was to be more mindful? Because in this day of our world, we've got so much stress and so much strife. What if you could set your sights to just be kind? Because only kindness matters. You're listening to Lois Herman, Inspiring Hope. Good morning. You are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman. And I want to share with you a dear friend. I am so thrilled to have on this show the very first guest on my show. And of course, it's naturally going to be Denise. Denise McCalvey is a dear friend. She inspires me. She's a mother. She's a survivor, a spiritual seeker and teacher. She also is a hypnotist and one of my clearing consultants. We haven't spoken much about that, but she is amazing. One of the things that I do in my business, because it's a very spiritual-based business, is we will often clear other people's energy. I will clear your energy if you come as a client. But people like Denise have the ability to go into a trance state and get a sense of your energy, and together we clear and we help you to be successful. So welcome, 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 Denise. I'm so happy for you to be here with me today.
Thank you for having me. Good morning, everyone.
Denise will also be the person, if you're on the show, she is going to be the person who's going to be helping to schedule and tell people about the show. And she had all kinds of questions. And I said, well, you know what? Instead of me telling you, why don't you come on and experience the show? And that way you can speak from your heart, because that's who you are. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Denise. Tell us about your story, a little bit about you.
Well, I was born and raised in Manchester. I moved to the country when I got married and instantly became a country girl. Love the country. I did go to hairdressing school, and we raised a beautiful daughter who's in her senior year at UNH, with 2 more years to go after that, getting her master's degree in occupational therapy.
Wonderful.
And she's a wonderful person, beautiful on the inside and out, and we'll talk more about her later. And definitely my story, I think, starts after my divorce and how I had to pull myself together. I moved a couple times in 1 year, and I think that's when I met you. You were part of my inspiration. And I had always been a self-help junkie, but I really had to pull myself together and formulate new avenues of healing. Part of it was emotional because I was suffering from Lyme disease. I had Lyme disease for 12 years.
Undiagnosed, right?
Undiagnosed at that point, and the severe depression that brought some really dark days to me was what got me into the naturopath's office, and we started my path.
You had a lot of physical issues as well as the emotional issues. Yeah.
Oh, yes.
You really had a tough time.
I sure did. A lot of, not just the joint pain, but the gut. A lot of mental fog. I couldn't drive on the highway. I had anxieties on the highway. My visual connectors couldn't register with my foot driving the car, so I started having panic attacks.
A lot of people have that. It's pretty amazing how Lyme, and we live in the county that has the highest instance of Lyme in the world. And I will have on the show some other people that help and treat Lyme from using magnets and naturopathic doctors. So we're going to be talking a lot about how you can shift. I want to hear your story, how you shifted. You have some daily practices that you do, creative pursuits, things that you do that helped you to shift out of that funk.
Yeah, I think when you look back in hindsight, the Lyme disease, I have to say that I'm thankful for it because it really helped me learn about myself. I developed food allergies, started reading a lot about food, and really turned my life around with food, able to keep my weight down for the most part, and feel so much better about myself. I really feel that the food we eat helps our mental state.
Absolutely.
And the clarity. So it's been a real education.
Sure. That's one of those bad things that have been a lesson.
Yes,
right?
yes, exactly. And gifts of the spirit do not come with pretty pink bows and beautiful packages. They come with adversity. They come with pain, suffering. But you pull yourself up by the scruff, you dust yourself off, and you keep on going.
Absolutely.
And if you can smile, then that's more power to you.
Absolutely. I have a dear friend who gave me a book once upon a time when I was at one of my down times. They called God Does Not Have Bad Hair Days. My friend Diane, she's actually hi Diane, she's on the Facebook post right now. But one of the exercises in that, speaking of smile is a simple thing we can do. There was an exercise to see how many people you could get to smile at you in a day. And on this particular day, I was traveling somewhere. I was at the airport. I don't remember where. I did a lot of travel. But I would smile at people, make eye contact and smile. And people would, kind of look around and then and they'd smile back. The ones that were the most fun were the children. They would instantaneously smile so big, and then they'd hide behind Mom like stranger danger. And then Mom would look at me, and then she would have that knowing smile. But a smile is something that is contagious. You can give it away free.
I think I moved to New Boston for that reason.
Oh, really?
Yes. My husband and I were driving a motorcycle, seeking out new territory, new places to go, to possibly live. And we were driving through New Boston on a black motorcycle. I had a black helmet on. And people would get up from their gardening, and they'd wave at this strange motorcycle going down the street. And this just wasn't one person. This was many people were stopping and waving, and I'm like, I love it here. He grew up a little different, so he thought everybody was a big weirdo, but I found my peeps and
That's
instantly
right.
loved it, and I couldn't wait to drive around town and wave at everybody.
Yeah.
So I think I do that today, and I'm sure in Manchester, some people look at you like you're a little strange, but that's okay.
You know what? I've decided
It spreads the love.
and I like being strange. Who wants to be? What is normal? Number one, and who wants to be normal? We're all unique in our own way, and that's a great thing.
Yeah.
So, what is it that you do that makes a difference in your world today? What keeps you inspired?
Wow. Well, first of all, my daughter inspires me. She's amazing.
She is.
She is amazing. She had a much different childhood than I had, and somehow she doesn't feel like she's very confident, but she feels the fear. She does it anyway. After high school, she took a gap year and joined the AmeriCorps and hopped on a plane and flew to San Francisco and met lots of new friends and stayed out there, did community service for a year, and it was really hard. This was not a person that ate great meals or slept in great places. She had to learn chainsaws and backhoes, and she cemented sidewalks and did all kinds of crazy things.
And I do know Jillian, and she's kind of a shy, quiet person, too.
She is.
So for her to be out there doing all that stuff that was a challenge for her.
That was a challenge. And then a couple years later, just a year and a half ago, she biked across the country with a program called Bike and Build. In that program, they started in Virginia, they ended up in Oregon. In every single state, they did a build for affordable housing.
Right.
So they would all volunteer at like a Habitat for Humanity home build in each state, and that was their day off from biking.
Well, we're going to have Jillian on the show.
I think she'd
she
be a
is
great
an
addition.
amazing young woman.
Yes,
I'm very
exactly.
inspired by her. You do a lot of simple things that inspire people. I know you talk about going through the toll booths. Tell us that story.
I just did that this morning.
Did you really?
Absolutely. I don't own an EZ Pass, and honestly, I don't think I want to now. This is just way too much fun. As I drive through the cash, there's only one spot to drive through cash now, and I always pay for the person behind me. And it's kind of fun because it's not just me that gets the benefit from being generous. The toll booth attendant, she lit up, and I'm sure she loved passing on the news there was a young girl, she looked like a teenager behind me, and I'm sure she was very thankful.
Yeah.
I hardly ever get a thank you, but that's not why I do that.
Yeah.
It's to spread the joy.
Right.
And it's for $2. 3 people get to have benefits of the soul from that instance. So.
Exactly. The toll booth person gets to receive the joy and then to share the joy.
Exactly.
So you've lit her day, plus the driver's day, plus your heart. Because giving is not for necessarily the receiver. It's more that gift of giving is for your own heart.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
That's such a delightful thing to do. Yeah.
I have a friend that will also be in line at Dunkin' Donuts. And when he's buying himself a coffee, he'll pay for the person behind him. And again, it's a small thing, but I'm sure it lightens their day. And,
exactly.
And hopefully people pay it forward. That's the whole point of this, is to pay it forward.
Right. And you even talk about when you go visit elderly people, you tend to take things from your garden, right?
Yes. I am one of these people that are on a budget, but there are so many simple things that you can do to brighten someone's day. And I do a lot of hair cutting at nursing homes, elder care, people with disabilities. And sometimes I just love to bring them a little something. And there's always things in nature. This time of the year, you can bring a bouquet of winter berries, those beautiful red winter berries. I mean, how pretty would those look in a little vase?
Yeah.
Maybe a little greenery in there. And then in the spring, pussy willows are the first flower. You cut some pussy willows. They're free. And then after that, you've got everything from lilacs to rhodies to peonies. Yeah, it's fun.
That's wonderful. Yeah, I know you love to garden, and you always have
Oh,
extra veggies in the fall that you share?
I'm only one person, my daughter and I. She's usually gone, but I plant a decent-sized garden so I can share. Mm-hmm. I love to share.
Yeah, you do. You're a very giving heart, and that, I think, is part of that light in you, that just coming into the room, you often have a giggle to you. There's always this light, and this is part of why I'm thrilled that you're on the show. And for those of you who have just tuned in, you are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman, and I have with me Denise McCalvey, who is a very dear and special friend, and I'm delighted that she's on just to share. Again, this is about, she's nobody famous yet. She said, why would you want me on your show? I am nobody famous. And that's what this show is about. It's about spotlighting the everyday people who bring joy to our world, because they're all around us. Mm-hmm. This is a good news show. There's so much negative out there, and the intention here is to shine the light on the good, because there is so much good in our world.
Absolutely.
And you also have an interesting story. Denise loves animals. So I go to her house on a regular basis, and she has, it's sort of like Doolittle's farm. She feeds her birds, and you make your own suet.
Yes,
and,
I do.
Yeah, and then you also have a dog. Tell us a story about Norman.
Oh, I love Norman. I've only had Norman since May. He was a 5-year-old rescue. He started off as a rescue, Delta Dog, a wonderful organization in Hollis. They trained him and they train all their dogs to work with veterans that have PTSD. So the dogs themselves that make it through the program, they're very calm. They're very easygoing. And something happened with his veteran, might have gotten sicker and couldn't handle having Norman, so they had to find a home. So he came to live with me and Jillian, and he's a wonderful addition, wonderful with the cats, wonderful with kids and people of all kinds. So he's just as cute as a button.
So he's a healer himself.
He really is.
Yeah,
he really is.
He's the gentlest dog you'd ever want to meet. Yeah.
His purpose was to be calm and to kind of lean into you. So if the person was having a bad day, a bad nightmare, or anxiety, just his leaning is like a dog's way of giving a hug,
of course,
and just petting, and that activates something totally different from inside of you when you have that kind of a love from an animal,
and from another human animal. Sometimes all we need is a hug.
It's true.
Everybody thinks, well, what do I need to do for somebody else? Sometimes it's just a phone call, a voice, a hug, being there. We are living in a technological world where everything is so isolated, which is why I think things like Facebook are great, because you get to see what other people are doing, and yet there's nothing better than that real face-to-face interaction where you can hold a hand, just a hug. I'm big on hugs.
Yes, hugs are nice.
So Normie is a hugger. I love that. I truly love that. So, Denise, is there someone that inspires you? How do you keep going? You've been through a lot in your life, and you are an inspiration to me and to many others. Who inspires you on a regular basis?
Well, definitely my daughter on a regular basis, and I feel like you inspire me a lot, Lois. You're always so up for anything that gets offered your way without having the terror that normal people would have.
I just don't show it.
You just don't show it. But, when I think back to my childhood, it wasn't, I was kind of lost in the shuffle. I know my mom was overwhelmed by all the children or whatever. So, and she did the best she could. But I feel like it probably, my first memory of a spark inside of me started when I was in the 3rd grade. And my teacher was out on leave with, she was having a baby. And here I was, it was Christmas time, and you always want to give your teacher a little something. So the substitute teacher was very nice. She was young. She was still a miss, not a Mrs. And I think I colored a picture and put it in a card. And I gave it to her. And when I got back over break, she gave me a thank you card and said, "Thank you. You are very thoughtful." I had never heard that before. I still have that card.
Wow.
Like, she touched my heart. So when I worked at the preschool for 17 years, anytime a little child gave me that, I don't know at their home if they're used to hearing those words.
Right.
they heard from me.
Right.
You are very thoughtful.
Absolutely.
It was just a seed that got planted that I realized that, wow, maybe I am. I had never heard that before. So that was one of my inspirations.
Is she the same teacher that made you look her in the eyes?
No, that was in the 6th grade.
Okay.
Do you want me to tell you that
yes,
story?
Yes, please.
Oh,
you have some great stories.
In the 6th grade, that was a terrible year. It's a bad year body image-wise, a lot of peer pressure, a lot of insults and meanness and mean letters from my peers. With that aside, I did not have a lot of confidence anyway. And so I never would certainly ever look at an adult when I talked to this adult. So this particular woman took a liking to me and had me doing things for her, and she would talk to me, and I wouldn't look her in the face. I would answer looking at the ground, looking to the side. And at one point, she gently cut my face, and she made me look her in the eyes. And she said, why can't you look me in the eye? And my eyes just started burning, and the tears started coming down. And I said, I don't know. And that was a turning point in my life, too. I started to look people in the eye, and then I realized you really make a connection with people's souls when you do that. And I think that was my way of avoiding for her looking inside of me, because I didn't feel like I was good enough.
Wow. Teachers can make such a difference.
They certainly can.
Here's to the teachers who do make a difference in the world.
Exactly.
It's a hard job sometimes, and I think we need to thank the teachers for the inspiring, thoughtful things they do for each of us.
Absolutely. What little things that they can do sometimes become quite the life changer.
And they really never even know. So let's just thank them. You're listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590. I hope you come back in a moment. Hello and welcome back to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman. I'm here this morning with Denise McCalvey, and we're talking about things that inspire us. And one of the things that Denise does is she does simple things for other people, and it touches their hearts. That's what this is all about. Only kindness matters. In the blog that I just posted, or I'm getting ready to post, I came across a song that was called Hands by Jewel, and those lyrics are just playing in my head, and it's interesting. I actually, if you want to see the blog, you can go to my website, loisherman.com, but it just says, if I could tell the world just one thing, it would be that we're all okay, and not to worry, because worry is wasteful and useless in times like these. I will not be made useless. I will not be idled with despair. I will gather around my faith, for the light does the darkness most fear. My hands are small, I know, but they're not yours, they're my own, and I'm never broken. So that's part of the lyrics, and then it goes on, and then it says, in the end, only kindness matters. In the end, only kindness matters. So the whole purpose of this show is to shine the light on people who are doing kind things, who are saying kind things. Surround yourself with people who are uplifting and hopeful, because those who want to talk about other people and are so dour and so negative, they need help. And they sometimes just dump their anger and their frustration on you, and it's okay to deflect it. It's okay to surround yourself by people who are uplifting, and continue to do that, and then therefore you will become that catalyst for positive change. So I want to focus on Denise. Denise, tell us more stories. You worked at a preschool for many years around a lot of children, so I know you have a story about working with children.
Oh, I love working with children. They're so much fun. I can be myself when I'm around children. I can be silly, because that's my nature, is to be silly. But I did want to share with you this story of one of the mornings. One of the things I was doing as an aide was coaching the children when they had little jobs. They would maybe help the teacher or do the calendar, whatever. But this particular job, this particular day, was a little boy needed to clean the hamster cage. We had a little teddy bear hamster named Butterscotch and Butterscotch was cute as a little but very kind to the children. And we went over to him, and I noticed Butterscotch was very still. Butterscotch was not alive. And typically it would happen during the night, so you can kind of scooch the little hamster out and just say, oh, somebody took it with them. But this particular day, I just had this inspiration. And the lead teacher I worked with, Jen, who's a sweetheart, she had a degree in biology, and she's working with the kids. And I pulled her aside and I said, can you trust me to teach the children about death and dying? And she's like, absolutely, go for it. So me and this little young boy wrapped up Butterscotch in a little towel and brought it into the classroom, and we told the classroom that Butterscotch had passed away. And Butterscotch is an angel now, an angel in heaven. And, we were kind of waiting to see what the children would do. In my experience as a mom, all my other moms, they like to lie to the children, they don't want to tell the truth about death and dying. Well, the kids were intrigued, and they were, can I see him? Okay, so I opened it up and I showed him in my hands, and can I touch him? And I looked at the teacher, and we're like, okay, we're going to wash our hands anyway. So they all wanted to touch it, the little hamster, whatever. Then they had an idea, well, let's bury him. So we got some little shovels, and we went out in the schoolyard, and they dug a little hole, said little prayers for Butterscotch. And then when we came in, they wanted to do pictures for Butterscotch. And we hung them up around the room because we knew now Butterscotch had angel wings and could see the pictures no matter where we hung them. So it was very sweet, and I just want to encourage all parents to be honest with their children,
right,
and teach them about death and dying. It's not something that they should be afraid of.
That's a beautiful story, Denise. And what I often tell my clients, because many of my clients will actually, when they go into that altered state, that trance state in hypnosis, they have an opportunity to connect with their passed over loved ones. It happens all the time. And I like to say it's like they just moved to Alaska. They're in a different state.
Right.
They're still around, and they can hear you, but we're too busy in our minds to hear them. It's the same thing when you pray. Everybody prays, but they don't stop, pause, and listen, which is where things like meditation or spiritual practices come into play. When you slow yourself down enough, through self-hypnosis, through meditation, through savasana and yoga, whatever, take the time to slow down, then you can actually hear the answers to your prayers. So that's a beautiful, beautiful story, because children do have amazing questions, and many of them have a lot more insight than we give them credit for.
And I have to say that particular incident got a lot of feedback from the parents. We thought we would get some flack, but they were thankful.
Yeah.
It opened up with their child. Their child talked about it for like a week.
Sure.
And it wasn't the doom and gloom that they thought the kids would experience.
Right.
And if the kid does cry over the loss of a pet, that's okay. We need to teach them healthy grief,
yes,
healthy grieving too.
And I have to say this, that many of my clients, when I do intakes and I'll ask them about people who have passed over, they'll mention dear ones, but they most often cry when they talk about their pets. Because pets are unconditionally loving. Humans are not necessarily always kind, and that's the message. Let's try and shift to be more kind, so that when we pass, that they will actually be crying over us and not grousy old grandma.
And know that it's okay to cry over your pets.
Yes, it is.
We cry over people, and that seems healthier, but then everybody wants to repress it with their pets, like, they're just pets, but no.
No, they are.
No.
They're very dear, and many people, the pet is their child.
Right.
And becomes the child, and the pet is always there. Like Norman, who gives you a hug by leaning into you. Cats will come and sit on you and purr. But there's always, the pets are there. They are your family.
Absolutely.
So yeah, your heart is tied into them, even if it's a hamster named Butterscotch.
That's right.
Thank you for that story.
Well, you're very welcome. And I think if parents are uncomfortable with death and dying, there are some wonderful books that can be read about that, where they can learn and feel comfortable themselves.
Wonderful.
And kind of undo, like myself, I did not grow up with a very healthy view of death and dying. With my spiritual or my religious views, and my parents didn't know any better either.
Right.
So
Yeah.
there's a lot of anxiety, fear of dying.
Yeah. They say that public speaking is the number one fear, even above the fear of death. So kudos to you, Denise, for conquering your fears. You were telling me, we were talking earlier about books and people that inspire us. You were talking about Brené Brown?
Brené Brown.
Brené Brown.
Oh, she's my new favorite love. I hadn't read her book yet, but I saw her talk on Netflix, which was wonderful. And then I just couldn't get enough TED Talks and purchasing her books and stuff. So she is wonderful. Braving the arena. You put yourself in the arena, and people, you should not accept any judgment from people that aren't doing what you do. If you're brave enough to come on a radio show, then please don't criticize.
Exactly.
Because,
yeah, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones, right? Exactly. And yeah, you're getting past your own courage. You know, that you've got the courage to come on the show, and I'm so happy for you. And
thank you.
Pleased that you're here, because you're inspiring other people with your stories. And you do this every day in your own small way. And I'm just wanting to shine the light on you and all that you do, and your stories will make a difference for other people. And that's the hope. That's what this whole show is about, is celebrating all of the wonderful good things. And there are many books. One of my favorites is called The Magic. Many people have heard of The Secret by Rhonda Byrne. And The Magic is a follow-on book of hers that is an applied exercise. It's 28 days of work. Now, we all know that it takes 21 to 30 days to change a pattern, a habit, a mindset. So she's embraced that in this book called The Magic. And what she does in this book is she takes a quote from the Bible. Let me find this. In her book, she says, "Those who have will be given more." It's a quote from the Bible, and she interjects the word gratitude. Those who have gratitude will be given more, and they will have an abundance. Those who do not have gratitude, what they have will be taken from them. So the whole book is based on gratitude. And I often will, with my clients, I will have them take a rock after their first session, and I call it the Gratitude Rock. It's a great lift. It's a specific lift from her book. And at night, when you drift off to sleep, you think of the best thing that happened. The Gratitude Rock is there to remind you to do this little exercise. And it also, we all know that Earth has energy. So as we hold this, we're putting in positive energy into this simple little rock. And we think of the best thing that happened. And instead of thinking of the woulda, shoulda, couldas, why did I say that? How I can't believe I did this. We take a minute and we think about all the good things that happened in a day. And it's amazing when you take inventory like that on a daily basis, all of the good things that happen. And then you say thank you for the best thing that happened. And then guess what? That subconscious mind of yours just goes, and it doesn't go into fix-it mode, and you can sleep for the most part. And you also use excerpts from the Gratitude, Denise.
I do. I've read that book, and I go to bed and I lay there and I put my 10 fingers on my stomach and I start going over at least 10 things that I'm thankful for that occurred during that day.
Yes.
A lot of times I'm very tired. I never make it to the 10. But if I'm laying there and I can't sleep, I go through another round of 10 after that, because there are so many things. If you reflect back on your day, it doesn't matter if you turned on the light switch or ran the water, encountered somebody that held a door for you. There's so many things that you can choose to be thankful for throughout the day. And then, believe it or not, you kind of fall asleep with a little smile on your face and a smile in your heart. And that's a great way to go to sleep. I hardly ever have nightmares anymore. Hardly have any night terrors or bad dreams. It's just, I really do believe that this subconscious way to fall asleep is just, I don't know. It's just a great way.
It is.
To drift off.
Drift off in
so
peace.
Positive.
Yes. Yeah. And because we all know that appreciation grows, depreciation dies. So when people ruminate over all the negative that happened, and that's what happens so often, people just keep in that rant of negativity, and it will just spiral down. You've got to take the effort to turn it around, to shift it, and that's what we're doing in the book, The Chronicles of Hope. Denise was with me when this first started. Denise, do you realize that that's been almost 5 years ago?
Yeah.
We started talking. You were the first person who heard about these strange sessions I was having, and you've been with me on this journey of bringing this book to life.
Yes, I can remember Lois sharing with me, like, oh my goodness, you have no clue what's going on in my office right now. And then slowly but surely she would start sharing with me, and I would watch her be blown away. She'd have to take a moment to gather herself up, and she really had to contemplate whether she was going to go down this road, because this was going to be a big road. This is going to shake up the world.
Yeah.
But because of your kindness and your love for humanity, it was an easy decision for you. And you hit the ground and you have been running. This morning I was on Facebook at 3:30 in the morning, and she texts me, "What are you doing up?" I'm like, "Aren't you sleeping?" So yeah, this woman doesn't sleep very much.
I get good sleep when I do sleep, and then they inspire me to get up and get going.
And
There's
get going.
things to do.
That's right.
Things to do, yes. And you've been there for me as I've had times where I've reflected on, do I really want to do this? It's not been an easy journey.
No, it hasn't.
Because there have been many people who have come and gone, people who have their own issues that I've been close to, that I've had to just say, well, that was their role. People are in your life for a reason, a season, a lifetime. There were people who were here for a reason, and I was very blessed to have them, and then had to learn the process of letting go of relationships, of situations, in order to stay the course, because I know that to me this is a calling, and I have to surround myself with people like you, with people that have been sent to me to help buoy me along on this journey when others get so dour. I'm at a point now in my life where I just can't be around that energy anymore. It doesn't fit me, and I need, because I do get by on very little sleep, I need to stay my course. I must get this message out. It's a message of hope. It's about, there's so much sadness that's going on in this world, but we can shift it. If we can each shift our energy to be more positive, then there's hope, because there's enough critical mass. There are enough amazing people doing incredible things, and the whole point is to shine the light on them, and for us to come together and support one another, because we are all one. We're all here together, and as we support one another, we can make a difference. We can become catalysts for positive change.
Absolutely. Kindness is free. We can all afford to do it.
Absolutely. We actually have a group, the people who have been reading the book, The Chronicles of Hope. You can find it on chroniclesofhope.net. There's a lot of information there. And we've established a community where we're conversing and sharing with each other. It's an online community, so we have people from around the country that are sharing how this is impacting their life, and we're supporting one another on this journey, this journey of hope for humanity, and we're just lighting each other and buoying each other along the way, and that's part of what this show is about, is to reach a broader audience, to shine the light on all that is so good in our world, and it's there. We just have to look for it, watch for it, and know that we're making a difference in our own small way. And then as we make a difference, we never know whose heart we're going to touch. We never know how we've made a difference for someone else. So just keep on going. Keep making that difference in your own way. It doesn't have to be anything big and fancy. Don't have to be anybody famous. Just do small things every day that will touch another person's heart.
I have committed to doing so, yes.
You know, you just do it naturally. And I'm blessed to have you as part of my Team Hope.
Thank you.
And I'm thrilled that you were my very first guest on my show. And I know you're going to be on again. And we're going to definitely have to have Miss Jillian on to tell us her story, because she is an inspiration to others. You are listening to Inspiring Hope with Lois Herman at WSMN 1590. Join us every Sunday morning. You can also follow me at Lois Herman Success Coach on Facebook and at the website loisherman.com. I look forward to seeing you next time. Meanwhile, look up, stay positive, and be the light in someone's day. And make it a great year, a great decade. God bless.